going on, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. It is your girl, Shelly Nicole, with the Remedy Podcast. Happy Memorial Day. I hope everybody's having a great day. Well, had a great day because it is nighttime or close to nighttime when you guys will listen to this. So I hope everybody enjoyed their Memorial Day. Thank you to all of the soldiers who served, everyone who is continuing to serve for this country. So you're probably wondering, Michelle, what the hell is all of that in your background? You hear bikes, you hear running, you hear a helicopter now. You may hear some birds chirping, you may, or at least I think they're birds, I don't know. But I am outside getting my walk on because, well, one, I had a pretty eventful weekend. Nothing too crazy, but I did have an eventful-ish wedding. Whoa, where did I get wedding from? Weekend. And I also wasn't feeling too good yesterday, so I do feel better today. And I was like, I'm not gonna just stay in the house and record. I still wanted to be outside. I still like to give lifestyle. It doesn't mean that I have to be in my bed or on my couch recording this episode. No, I'm outside. Yes, I am. Enjoying the weather like the rest of you guys did, but still getting the work done. You feel me? So, nonetheless, the episode for tonight is about the difference between settling and compromising. Now, why I chose this to be the episode was because someone actually brought it to my attention. And I always pay attention to when people bring certain topics to my attention and want to know my advice. And crazy enough, one person brings it to my attention, literally an hour later, someone's bringing it to my attention again. Feeling as though she thinks that she's settling when she's really trying to decide if she should move to another state with her husband or if she should just stay here in New York. So, of course, I always give pros and cons. I always give the what ifs. Is it significant for her to stay here in New York? Or can she afford to move? And not, with money, but can you afford to up and leave despite this being your home, this being where you're from? Are you that attached to this state when you don't need to be, where there's so much going on for yourself or so much opportunity somewhere else? So she asked me, what is the difference between compromising and settling? And I think at some point all of us have to, I want to say, decide whether or not we are compromising in a relationship or are we just settling for whatever comes our way. So my first thing is this. Compromising is simply two grown, mature people coming together on a difference that they're having and being able to say, okay, how do we meet in the middle? You want this, I want that, but how do we meet together in the middle to achieve what it is we need to achieve and to get where we need to get to, where you're satisfied and I'm satisfied? That's compromising. Now, settling is when you feel like you're not being heard, you feel like there's nothing else out there, you feel as though you've exhausted all of your options, and you decided that, hey, I'm just going to go with what I have right now and be okay with it. That's settling. And the thing is, a lot of people feel like they are settling today. And I don't want anybody to feel, no matter what it is, relationships, where you're moving to, your career, getting out of and fighting yourself to get out of that comfort zone, out of that settling zone. And I say this as I tell myself this constantly, to never settle for just, one type of job, one type of income. As just for myself, as far as like how I'm pushing myself to continue this podcast, to continue my content creating. Make sure you guys follow me on TikTok. If you don't follow me now, if you have TikTok, make sure you follow me. It is The Remedy _podcast. And then also my personal one, _sincerely, Shelly, CHLLY _ So follow those two. And also my Instagram, which is the same on both. So making sure I am persistent with what it is I'm doing and where it is I see myself going, and not settling for a calmer life, I guess, or a one income life, or just how I see and where my life is right now. Don't get me wrong. I am blessed. I try not to brag, and I don't think I do. I don't think I brag with what it is I have. If you know me, then you know what I have. If you're close to me, then you know what I have. But nonetheless, I am blessed. And there are people who are struggling. There are people who don't have. And even the smallest things I have learned to appreciate when I didn't do that in the beginning. Settling is like being okay with not being okay. That is like the easiest way that I could put it. People settle for things that, well, it's good for now. She's good for now. He's good for now. That's fine. It's not what I really want, but whatever. I don't want to argue. I don't want to complain. I'm just going to take what I have and call it a day. And 9 times out of 10, you're upset about it. You feel miserable. You feel down. You really have no excitement for it. And all you did was just take it for what it was, because that's all that came your way. Now again, in certain situations, you might have to. It really depends on it. But for this episode, we're talking about settling and compromising in relationships. And I feel like a lot of people are doing that, where they are just compromising their needs and their boundaries, because we're not compromising, settling on their needs and their boundaries because they just want to be in love. They want to have someone to come home to. They want to just say that they're in a relationship when they're not happy. And please stop doing that. Please, I'm telling you, don't do that. Don't be with someone just because they have the same things that you want, but the same ideas that you want, I should say. They want to get married, they want to have kids, they want to see the world, they want to build their own house, whatever the case may be, right? Which is great. But if there's something about them that's really like ticking you off, something about them that really eggs you on, don't settle. Know that you can have exactly what it is you want. It just may take time. I will definitely sit here and say, you see what I'm saying? It's the chipmunks now that are making all these noise. It was nice and quiet for a second. Okay, now we're not. Anyway, take it from me. I definitely settled in my last relationship. And I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm not, because I grew from it. I understood exactly what it is that I was doing. I understood that had I had just put my foot down like I do now, and how I did prior to meeting my boyfriend, had I had just put my foot down back then, it would have saved me time. It would have saved me money. Let's talk about it. And it just would have saved having to add a body to your damn count. You know what I mean? Like, and again, it's more deeper than that. But at the same time, you don't want to settle for any and everything simply because you don't have what it is you're looking for at this exact moment. Nothing good comes out of that. Oh, well, no one else will want me. No one else will deal with me. I don't know if this will ever happen. I'm getting too old, especially us ladies, because we do know, men, y'all know also, that women are on a time stamp. We got only but so much time. But I think what we can also take away from, like, what Ashanti has done, what Ciara's still doing, what Rihanna has done. They found love later on in life, later on in their 30s, into their 40s. And they popped out children. Now, granted, yes, I know their income their income is different from ours. So they may have more higher paying resources than we do when we have. But we also have resources as well. The middle, low income class, if we educate ourselves and we know people who know people. There's a bunch of ways that it can happen if it's within, something that you want. But nonetheless, I know women who settle because, I'm getting older. And I don't see a future with anybody else. And I don't see how I'm going to get married. I'm 35 and X, Y, and Z. All of these reasons, all of these thoughts that play in your head. And again, I'm talking to you from somebody who has thought that myself. You couldn't tell me at 33 I would have no kids and not be married and not have a house of my own. You couldn't tell me that at 25. You couldn't tell me that at 18 because I was planning my life out at 18, 19 of how it would go. And my life went the complete opposite way. Am I in part to take with that? Yes. Did I take some accountability in that? Absolutely. But you also have to understand that sometimes God blocks things from your life because it wasn't supposed to happen. Because if it did, it would have damaged you. And I understand that. And I see it for what it is. And it still is a battle to accept what was and letting go of what could have been and just seeing what it is now. But either way, I made it very sure, made a promise to myself to not compromise when it comes to who I want to be with, what I want in life, where I want to go. And not to settle on just anybody and anything that's trying to come my way. To stand on your boundaries and stand on what it is you want. And if it takes years, it takes years. If y'all read the Bible, which I encourage y'all to always do, and you always hear me say it, read Job. Job is a good one. Job had to wait. Job had it all. And Job ended up losing everything and had to wait years before he got anything back. Read that. Someone told me that settling is and only takes one person. Compromising can take two people, or has to take two people, because that's something that you're doing for the relationship. It's something that you're doing for each other. Now, it's not to say that you have to settle and compromise on everything. There are certain things that you're not going to. I feel like as women, we tend to settle. Again, like I said before, we settle way more than men do. But it's not to say that men don't settle either. I know men who are unhappy in relationships that they're in right now and simply in it because they feel like there's nobody else, or they just don't want to deal with the whole having to date somebody else all over again. I know a lot of men who are like that. And again, I really wish and hope that people would do that, like would stop doing that, settling for what they really know that they don't deserve and what they know that they don't want. Because in the end, at the end, it may feel like, right now, it may not feel like a big deal, right? Right now, it may just be like, you know what? It's cool. You're going to come up with all the excuses. Oh, he has this. Oh, she has that. And it's all going to sound good and dandy right now. But then in the next 10 years, in the next 15 years, you're going to look back and you're going to be like, why did I do that? What was the point? I don't want to be here. And then this is how I also believe that this is how and why a lot of affairs happen, because people are settling for people who they know they should not be with. They're settling for situations that they know that don't benefit them or brings them more pain than it does happiness. Why do that to yourself? Why? Do you not feel like you deserve to be loved properly? Do you not feel like there's not someone out here who can? And that's the thing. Your person may not even be here in New York. Your person could be somewhere in a whole nother country or a whole nother state. And you would never know. You could fly out and meet somebody and that be your person. You would never know. There's somebody that even asked me, like, would I ever join Love is Blind? I don't think so. But the concept and the idea is good. And I think it definitely takes out the physicality of it all, which I feel like so many people just fall and settle for people because of how they look. Like, you don't, and I definitely wish people would stop doing that too. Do not settle for someone just because, or, you know, feel like you need to settle because of how someone looks or what they drive, or it's like, please don't be superficial. Benefits of compromising. And honestly, I feel like also some people feel like when they compromise, it's like, well, I'm giving you everything you want, but what about my wants and my needs? Again, in every situation, you're not always going to compromise. In every situation, it's not going to be a thing of, oh, well, I need to do what he wants, or I need to do what she wants, or no. I really do feel like you can come to a middle ground about certain things that don't take and won't take forever to come to an understanding about. And if you have, or you feel like you're being challenged when it comes to that, and you always feel like, you know what, I'm the one always having to compromise. I'm the one always having to let my wants go because of you. I feel like it comes that way because of, again, you're just not happy with where you are. If you feel like you're compromising all the time and you're just not happy with it, and you always have like a not a harsh reason, or you just feel like it's just not for you, and you always feel combative, or you feel against what it is that person's trying to help you or tell you, and you always look at it as like a negative, then so how do you come to an agreement when it comes to compromising with your partner? So one thing you could say to your partner is, look, I feel like we always take your side of things, and I have no problem doing that, but what about listening and hearing my end or my voice in the situation, and allowing me to feel like I'm also in this relationship and not just you. That could be one way. So that way you don't feel like it's always just about him or always just about her. And if they are receptive to it, then cool. Things will change. Now, if they not, then I don't know. Y'all might have to rethink a lot of things, because no one ever wants to be in a relationship where they feel like their voice is not being heard, or they feel like they're being controlled, because we're always yes, compromising, which is, again, fine, but we're always taking what you want to do over what I want to do. And we're never coming to an agreement. So it ends up being settling anyway, because that's not something that you ultimately want to do. You're just doing it because your partner said yes. And then you really don't want to be in no type of situation like that either, because now you got to deal with your partner having an attitude. Oh, what's wrong? I said I didn't want to do this, but okay, whatever. Now, her mood or his mood is thrown off, and now your mood is thrown off. Now everybody's all thrown off. So the other thing is settling for someone who isn't your type on the inside versus settling for somebody who's not your type on the inside, but they are your type on the outside. Because they look good, you're going to just settle for them. Because they have a nice car, you're going to settle for them. They have no type of substance. They can't even hold a conversation. They don't even know how to cook. They don't know how to boil water. And whatever other requirements you may have, and they don't know how to do it, but because they look good and they drive something nice, you're going to settle for them. That's also settling. Don't think that it has to be something negative, because it doesn't. It can really be something positive too, in a sense, when I say positive. Like, even just dating. Not necessarily a relationship, but it could just be dating. Because the shit pool that we're in today with this dating world, a lot of women and men do that. Men settle for what looks good. The girl that looks like plastic all over the place. Face done. Body done. Titties done. Everything done. They all look like a plastic Barbie. But they have no, and tummy tuck. And nothing against it. I mean, do you. But there are men who settle for women like that. And then when they have a conversation with them, later on down the line, they realize they have nothing going on in their little heads of theirs. And that's not, again, to say that everybody who gets plastic surgery is a bubblehead. I didn't say that. But what I'm saying is a lot of men and women go for what they see on the outside and then have no clue what's on the inside. Stop doing that too. Stop settling for what you see on Instagram, what looks good on Instagram, and then don't even get a chance to really talk to them. How is their personality? What do they like? What don't they like? How do they communicate? All of those things. People don't do that. The other thing that was brought to my attention is the blessing in settling. So you can honestly feel like if you come to a situation, whether it's a guy or a girl, and you feel like, oh, I'm just settling for this person and it's not who I really want to be with, but whatever, they make me happy, they do this, they do that, and the third, whatever, right? The little cute baby. My baby fever has been on 10 lately. I cannot explain. But anyway, the blessing in settling is that person can honestly be who you are meant to be with. They can be the person that is going to teach you something, that's going to humble you, that's going to show you, you know what? They may not have this and that, but they taught me this, they taught me that. They brought peace to my life, and it didn't look like that in the beginning, but somehow here we are, months, years later, and not realizing that the person who I normally wouldn't go for ends up being the person that you end up being with for the rest of your life. Which some scientists actually say that actually works. When you go for the person that is not your quote-unquote type, and you go for someone else, that ends up being someone who you who you need and not who you want, and who you end up being with for the rest of your life. I'm not saying to date or marry an ug mug. I'm not saying that. Yes, they do have to be attractive to you, not to anybody else, but to you. But if it's somebody that may not have all of the things that were written on your list, but has the majority of it, then go ahead. What are you waiting for? Why wait around for something that you may never get, but something that's actually keeping you and making you happy? Sometimes there is a blessing in that. Ultimately, there's the positives and the negatives on both sides. You can compromise and it feel like you're constantly having to compromise on everything you want versus what your partner wants, or your partner wanting what he wants or she wants and you get nothing, or compromising to come to a mutual agreement that this is best for the both of us and for our family and where we're trying to go in life. And I think that brings the relationship closer when you can come to an agreement about something that the both of you want. So try not to be so combative either when it comes to compromising. I feel like women, sometimes we take the combative route, take the more aggressive route when we don't have to. When you know your man has it under control, and yet you still feel like, well, we're doing everything that you say. And I feel like you can't sit here and say, ladies, you want a man to lead and don't let the man lead. Now, if he doesn't know how to lead and he's leading you into a brick wall, then you shouldn't be with him anyway. If he's going to lead you down to the pits of hell, then you shouldn't be with him. But if he's giving you a plan, if he's putting things out in front of your face and letting you know, this is how I see it in the next 3 to 5 years for us. This is how I see it in the next few months for us. You're good. But you have to let it happen. You can't be so argumentative about it. And gentlemen, don't sit here and talk about how, oh, she never lets me lead and she never lets me just come up with a plan. And I don't know is not going to keep a woman around. We'll figure it out is not going to keep a woman around. You may need some time, that's okay. But when you start dating someone who is ready for all the serious stuff that life has to offer, and the building and the creating and the real adult life, the real adult relationship, then you have to know exactly what it is you're doing, because no one has time to waste. Settling, we all have done it. We all have settled at some point. But if you feel like you're settling now, you could get yourself out of it. You don't have to stay. There are so many ways for you to just remove yourself from a situation that you feel like is not meant for you. Like I told y'all before, I felt like I settled in my old relationship only simply because we both wanted the same things. But when I think back on it, he had no plan. And I was making the plans. And there was no blessing in that settling. There was a headache in the damn settling. So think about it. Let me know when I go live. It'll probably be next week when I go live about it. But we'll go live about more than one subject. We won't go live with just about one thing. But we'll definitely talk about this, because some people did put down some really interesting ideas in the DM. I didn't even post all of them. I'm gonna post them now. But their ideas of compromising versus settling, and how some people actually got out of it. So stay tuned. Hope you guys had a great Memorial Day weekend. The ones who had a 3-day weekend, lucky little sons of guns. Everybody's back to work tomorrow. Whoever had this weekend off. But love you guys for listening. Hope you guys have a great night. Leave that shit into today. Do not let the shit go into tomorrow.